That's cool. Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me, everybody. This Safe Choices unit is something I found really fascinating from the past couple of years. I don't know if you know, but I think it was 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, no, 2 years ago, a Year 12 student, her name's Zoe Dyer, she did a video for this particular Safe Choices unit. She did it on domestic violence. And the response to that was unbelievable. We put it on the school's Facebook site, and it got shared about 50 times and got over 500 likes. And then news networks picked it up and started talking about it as well. So Zoe ended up having her work on news websites and on TV, all sorts of things. So it's a great chance for you to demonstrate your own creativity and your own, special genius, I suppose. So I guess I want to talk to you a little bit about a safe choice that I had to reckon with. Come on, Simeon, come on, mate. A safe choice I had to reckon with, something that I had to figure out from there, and then how I changed my lifestyle as a result. So to go back, when I was in, well, your age, I guess year 10, I was at school in Canberra. It was a little different to this school though. We didn't have a school uniform. We didn't have anything like that. It was only 4 houses, but nobody even knew what the names were. So school wasn't particularly engaging for me, but something I really enjoyed was playing sport. So I was in the school basketball team, I was in the school cricket team, I was in the school athletics team, I was in the school hockey team, I was in the school, what else was I in? Skiing team. I was in basically anything I could get into, and that was something that I just wanted to find my outlet. But it was all just keeping it fairly constrained. And then as I left school, I kind of just stopped playing sport really, because I had no, bless you, I had no kind of outlet for things to go. And I started to get a little bit chunky. I started to get a little bit of extra gravy going on, which was a bit, awkward. And suddenly when I was looking at myself in the mirror, I didn't quite recognize who was back. I was starting to get lower on energy. I was starting to get short on breath. I wasn't sleeping very well, all sorts of different things. And then suddenly, when I moved to Sydney a little bit later, because I went through a couple of jobs and got promoted a few times, I was suddenly in Sydney, and I turned up at a church that I went to be part of for quite a number of years. And the first thing I noticed is that all these people had so much more energy than me. They were really, they were all good looking, so we didn't have that in common easily. But they were all like really trim, they were all really energetic, and it turns out all of them were elite runners. Basically, they were all elite runners. So these are guys who could do a half marathon in about 1 hour, 7 minutes kind of thing. They would do 10Ks in under 30 minutes, which is, up there at the top sort of thing. Well, close to 30 minutes actually. And so I thought, well, what do I want to do? I want to get fit. I want to be exactly like these guys. So I'll start doing exactly what they did. So I started to run. I did this thing called Couch to 5K because I figured I was sitting on the couch for most of my time, and I thought I wanted to be just like these guys, so I want to get up to run 5Ks. And so I trained, and eventually I could run 5Ks. And I decided I'd train a bit more, and suddenly I could run 10 kilometers. But the thing is, I kept getting hurt. I kept finding sore knees, or sore quads, or calves, or something like that. But I didn't understand. These guys were so good at what they wanted to do, and I wanted to be like them. What was it about me that couldn't do it? And I started to realize, well, why am I wanting to be exactly like these guys? Because back at school, I was in all sorts of sports. I was skiing, I was running, everything I could possibly get my hands on. Basketball, cricket, tennis, whatever it might be. Then suddenly I thought, well, what other options are there? If I want to lose weight and get energy, what could I do that's suddenly not exactly like what everyone else did? And suddenly a friend of mine said, well, why don't you try cycling? And I had a bike, and I thought, oh yeah, that's okay. So I hopped on the bike, and I found that I could ride quite a long way pretty easily. And all of a sudden my rides were getting longer and longer. I was doing 100Ks, 180Ks at times, and the longest I ever did was a 250K ride. It was crazy. And what I noticed is that I was doing it faster than almost all my friends too. My pace was going up. And then suddenly it all culminated last year. I went to the south of France with my wife, and we stayed at the bottom of probably the most famous cycling climb in the world. It's called Alpe d'Huez, and it's in the Tour de France almost, well, every 2 years sort of thing. But it goes up for 14 kilometers. So if you can imagine driving up Mount Cootha and times that by about 4 or 5, that's what this mountain is. and it ends up going up right where there's snow on the peaks and things like that. And I thought, okay, well, why don't I, you know, I've got the dream, let's give it a go. So I went over there and hired a bike, and yep, no, I made it up, but there was a problem. There's this thing called Strava, which is a sort of a device that tracks all your segments and all your times. And what happened is my little GPS device cut out for the first 100 meters of the climb that I was going up. So I did it, and my wife was there, but there was no evidence that I'd ever done the climb because it didn't track it. And if you're a cyclist, Mr. Osborne and I talk about, that's up there with losing a loved one. That is the most devastating news you can possibly get. So we were leaving town the next day, and I thought, can I do this? So I gently nudged my wife and said, I want to try it again. And she wasn't happy about this because she thought it was hard enough doing it the first time. She, you know, she likes me, so she doesn't want me to die, which is, you know, scandalous. But I thought, no, I need to prove, one, that it wasn't just a fluke, that I could do it, but two, I need the data. So off I went. I didn't sleep particularly well that night. I woke up, and I don't know if you guys have ever done a lot of exercise and have woken up the next morning, everything hurts. I was walking like a crumpled old man thinking, oh, what am I doing? But no, I've got to be able to achieve this goal because I'd set it out, and this was something that I could achieve, that I knew that I was able to do. So off I went, and there was one last obstacle on the way. You see, there'd been a landslide at Alpe d'Huez earlier that year. So at the half hour every day, they stopped people traveling a certain distance for half an hour, and it was about halfway up. So that meant if you got to the halfway point up the mountain at 11:32, you would have had to stay there for half an hour while they did their roadworks until they opened it back up. Now I took off from the bottom at about 11 o'clock, and I'd totally forgotten the roadworks. And it wasn't until 11:25 when I saw I was getting close to the roadworks that I thought, oh no, this is so bad. And so I did something that you should never do when you're just trying to get up a mountain. I accelerated. So I got out of the saddle and started to go faster and faster. My legs were burning, and it turned out I got there, and as I walked through, the guy got the rope and walked it back. I got there by that much time, which was a huge relief. Otherwise I would have had to wait for half an hour, and I would have got up the top to a very angry wife, which, you know, that's another topic, but you never want to see that. So yeah, suddenly up the top I got, and all of a sudden, not only had I climbed this amazing feat once, but I'd done it twice, and I felt over the moon because this is something that I found that I can do. I wasn't peer pressured into just getting fit like everybody else was doing, but I saw a problem that I had and thought, here's a solution that I'm capable of. And so maybe that's something you guys can take from this. What's a particular battle you're facing? How have other people done it? But also, what can you learn from that? Not necessarily just do it exactly the same way they've done it, but what can you do for yourself? Thank you very much.
And your Strava data, how did you get the King of the Mountain?
I got nowhere near the King of the Mountain, but I did make it up. Yeah, I did overtake a few people on the way up, which was pretty cool, but I won't tell you how many people overtook me.
They're all equal.
Yeah, exactly. They're all on drugs.
You can search that guide so as well. I'm sure you can do a little search and find out what's the name.
Yeah, if you search Dylan Malloch Strava, you'll probably find it. I'll lock that down. All right. Well, thanks very much, everybody. Good to see you.